All right, do we have children here today? Come on up. Why don't we do this, because we have this here. How about, depending on how many we have, do you want to be there or here? Where do you want to be? Perfect. Come on. Come on up. Don't be afraid. I just look ugly. Come on. Come on. Oh, look at this. This is great. You don't want the candy I have for you? No. Well, how are you today? I'm gonna talk to you about a couple of things, mainly about relationships today. But I want to ask you first, do you know what this time is in our church? Yes?
Is it Lent?
It's Lent. Does anyone know what Lent is? Anybody else? Now I'm going to come to you because you have all the answers. Yes, what's Lent?
Lent is when Jesus was in the desert for 40 days and nights, and you have to give up something what blocks your relationship with God so you can get closer with Him, or add something in to get closer.
Oh, very, very excellent, excellent. Yes, did you all hear? She said Lent, we celebrate reminding us of the 40 days that Jesus spent in the desert, and we give up something. We give up, and you very, very perfectly said that we give up something that keeps us away from God. So that's really, it's not just candy. Candy doesn't necessarily keep us from God, does it? So we give up something that keeps us from making God primary. Yes? That was excellent. Did you know what 40 means in the Bible? You probably don't know this. Maybe you do. 40 means a long time. That's what it means. When you hear in the Bible 40 days, or it rained for 40 days, 40 nights, whatever it happens, 40 years, that means a long time. Do you know what 7 means in the Bible? It means the perfect. 7 is perfection. So when you read in the Bible something happened in 7 days, it's God created the world in how many days?
7.
Exactly the right amount of days, the perfect amount of days. So that's what Lent is. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And when does Lent end?
Oh, it's Easter.
The Easter season, right. It actually ends at Holy Thursday, but that's all part of the Easter season when Jesus' Last Supper. And what happens on Holy Thursday?
I don't know. Oh, was it him coming back to heaven?
Coming back to where?
Oh, you know what? No, I don't know.
It's okay. No, you're thinking. That's the main part. I gave up thinking years ago. I'm glad you still do it. Holy Thursday, which is coming up, which will be the end of Lent, is the Last Supper of Jesus, and it's also the night he's arrested, is Holy Thursday. So we'll get to that. But today's reading, what did you hear in today's reading? Let's focus on the gospel, the story of the woman at the well. Do you remember anything from what you just heard? Yes?
That Jesus asked the woman to get a sip of water.
Jesus asked the woman for some water. He said, "Woman, get me water." Things haven't changed much in 2,000 years, have it? I'm going to tell you something about that well you may not know. They call it Jacob's well because Jacob also took water from that well. What's a well? Yes?
It's a big hole, but there's bricks. It's just a circle brick
Uh-huh.
of it. And
Yeah.
then there's a rooftop, but there's nothing to close the sides with.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes?
It stores water.
And
you can drink and shower with it. And
Okay.
for your lifestyle.
It's a place that holds water, yes?
It's something that's circular, and it's made out of certain materials, and it's something that you can withdraw water from.
Boy, you're going to be a designer of homes and buildings. You're wonderful. Yes, well, a well can look like anything, but it means that there's water, that you're bringing water up, and then you can create a design of what you want the well to look like. But that well, now listen to this, that well, at the time of today's reading in the gospel when Jesus meets this woman, that well was already 2,000 years old. Jacob lived about 1,800 years before Jesus. So that was an old well, huh? Can you imagine how many people and how many sheep were drinking out of that well for all those years? Yeah, you know how many?
Probably over 1 billion.
Over 1 billion. Well, that's a lot of sheep, yes?
Maybe over 1,000.
Over 1,000, probably. Somewhere between 1,000 and 1 billion is probably the right answer. Yeah. So I want to know about when Jesus goes to the well, he goes for what?
Water.
He goes for water. We go to the well for water. And then a woman comes. And in the story, and I'm not going to dwell into this, there's a reason that the woman is going there when no one else is there. Yes?
I think that she went over there when no one else is there because there might be some days when there's crowds over the well.
There might be what?
There might be crowds all over the.
Oh, so you think she went to the well by herself because she wanted to avoid the crowds of other people wanting the water. Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, maybe, but there's another reason that the Bible tells us. And that is that this woman did not lead a very good life. She was not liked by the people in the town. And she wanted to avoid them. She wanted to go there when no one else would see her and say bad things. Have you ever noticed sometimes where when people don't like another person, they might say bad things behind their back? Well, that's how it was with this woman. The whole town did not like her lifestyle because she had been married many times. And so they were bad-mouthing her, and the woman wanted to go alone and not have to put up with those people saying those nasty things. So that's why she was there alone. And who was there when she went this time? Jesus was there. And I'm going to tell you a secret about Jesus. Jesus is oftentimes, many times, most of the time, going to meet you at a place when you don't expect him. When you think you're alone, Jesus will be there for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, an interesting thing happens. They develop a relationship. What is a relationship? Back there.
It can be anything, acquaintances, friends, or maybe even lovers. But most likely it's always friends.
Acquaintances, friends, and who else?
Lovers. Lovers.
Lovers.
Lovers. L-O-V-E-R.
Yeah, lover. I just didn't expect that particular word out of your mouth. That's good. Yes, but you're exactly right. Relationships come in all forms. But there is something that is the same with all relationships. And that is, it's always a process. Like when your dad met your mom met your dad, they didn't just fall in love that very second. It was a process, wasn't it? They got to know each other. Have you ever, and then they grow out of it. Is that why you're smiling? And when you're in school and you see somebody there at school that you want to meet, don't you just sort of build into that relationship? Are you instant friends immediately, or does it take time?
You can help people.
They help people. Helping people is a good way to build relationships. Yes.
It takes a lot of time to be friends, and they have to know what you like, and you have to learn what they like too. And it takes a lot of time to get relationships together, and it's just like you have to get along, and you just have to like know about each other.
That's right. It takes time to build a relationship. You have to get to know them. They have to get to know you. Am I right?
Yeah.
Well, that is exactly what you see in this reading today. The woman goes to the well because she doesn't want to see anybody. And who's there? Jesus. And what is her first reaction when she sees Jesus? Yes? Good, you're thinking. That's a good thing. I see the brain kind of moving and smoke coming out of your ears. Yeah, her first reaction was, why are you here? You don't belong here. You're a stranger. I don't know you. And then, so her first reaction is that Jesus is a foreigner. He's a stranger. As they then start to talk, what's her next reaction? Yes?
And she might have asked his name so then they can meet each other.
Yeah.
And she might have been surprised it was Jesus.
So once she gets over the fact that he is a foreigner or he is not supposed to be there, but is okay with it, then they talk a little more, right? They get to know each other. They build that relationship. And so she finds, first he's a foreigner, and next she finds that he is a gentleman. He is very polite to her, respectful to her, which a lot of the people in the town were not, and yet he was. And then they talk more, just like you when you have your relationship. So your parents, when they have their relationship, they get to know each other over time. First, he's a stranger. Then she sees him as a gentleman. He's polite to her. What's the next thing she sees him as? Because Jesus asks her about her husband. And what does she say? Do you remember the reading? Yes?
I don't have a husband.
She said, boy, you listen. This is excellent. Good for you. She said, I don't have a husband. And what does Jesus say? You have been honest with me. You have told the truth. You have had 5 husbands, and the man you are with now is not your husband. And so what did she see? How did he know that, the woman said? So yes?
Because Jesus knows everything, and I think that's why he figured it out. Or like one time he saw her.
That's right. She realized that Jesus knows everything. She calls him a prophet, meaning he understands and he knows everything. So this was a process of getting to know each other. And then the next thing she sees that he is the Messiah. And then what is the Messiah? Can you tell me what the Messiah is?
The Messiah is a Messiah kind of like
Some Messiahs were kings. King David, he was a Messiah and he was a king. There was another Messiah called Judas Maccabees. He was a general. So it doesn't matter about king or general. A Messiah means you were there to save the people, in this case, the people of Israel. So she sees Jesus as Messiah. And then what does she do? And this is amazing. This is when you're in a relationship, you get to a point where nothing else matters but telling somebody about this new boyfriend you have, this new girlfriend you have, this new friend you met at school, because you're excited about it. So the woman goes to the town to tell all the people about Jesus, people that she didn't want to see, but she's now more excited about Jesus, so she doesn't worry about herself. Does that make sense? So it's building that relationship, and that's how we build our relationship with Jesus. It's one step at a time. Do you, in your life, do you ever think to yourself, I like Jesus, or I believe in Jesus, or I want Jesus around? Who does that? When my daughter was your age, I used to tell her she'd be scared at night, and I'd go in and I'd say, darling, sweet pet Haley, you guys, many of you know Haley. I'd say, Haley, don't be scared. Jesus is here with you. And my daughter Haley said, well, sometimes I like Jesus with skin on him. So in other words, the real person to be there. But Jesus is always there with you. But you have to build the relationship. When I was in my automobile accident and broke my neck and hurt my hand, when I was in the hospital, you know what kept me going? The fact that I had developed this relationship with Jesus. And I knew that even though I was hurting and I was in a hospital, that I was being looked after and protected by this Jesus that I had a relationship with. Does that make sense? And that's what Lent is about. Lent is about building that relationship, taking the time to get to know him. Does that make sense to you? Okay, and one of the ways we do that is praying. And I've been, at all the talks I've been giving during Lent, I've been trying to tell them, at least do this one prayer. And I'm going to teach it to you right now. It's a very simple little prayer. It's from a play called Godspell. Okay, ready? I want you to repeat after me. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray. To love thee more dearly, to see thee more clearly, to follow thee more nearly, day by day. And that's how we build relationships. Amen? All right, you guys are great. Thank you for taking the time with me. Here, I'll help you. No?